What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. Thank you guys again for joining us for another live stream. The links are going to be all below if you guys want to be a part of our Facebook group. I'm not going to dedicate too much time talking about that today. I want to do things a little bit different. And we're going to go really in detail, not just about the stocks that I see value in, but allowing the viewers that tune in live kind of give me some feedback and suggestions for stocks that they see value in, and then I just perform my technical analysis. Again, the whole point of this live stream is just for exposure. You should never invest based on anyone else's opinion. You should only trade stocks you understand, and you should always have a plan when investing. Those are the 3 rules we have within TechBot Solutions. So I hope all those that are watching understand that. Again, TechBot Solutions is a community of over 39,500 members now worldwide, and the thing that we do best is we provide a free and simple platform for both new and experienced traders, and we support one another with when it comes down to sharing best practices and sharing mistakes in an effort to promote overall group growth. So I'm gonna make it very quick. I'm gonna start sharing my screen, and then I'm using the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform. Again, we're simply gonna be trying to identify potential during the pre-market hours, and then letting the viewers kind of give me suggestions on what to focus on, and then I just perform a technical analysis and give my opinion. In no way is my opinion, the final decision maker on what you should invest in, and you should understand that 100%. So let's go ahead and get this going. Alrighty, let's go ahead and say what's up to the people that are tuning in live. What's going on, Shade? What's going on, Kevin? Beasley MC. Good Mood Tunes. What's going on, guys? What's up, what's up, what's up? What's up? Okay. Thoughts on JDST after yesterday? Well, my thoughts on JDST, I actually have this one. It has had a previous support here at $60. I actually called out that it's approaching support, so I called out the support again at $60. If we look during pre-market hours, the lowest that it went during pre-market hours is right at that 60. Does it mean that 100% it's going to hold at 60? No, I mean JDST has been known to move around. Last time it did hold above 60 when it hit highs of 66. It doesn't mean that it will have to. Again, JDST moves around, and with these higher cap stocks, they don't always stay above that perfect support line. Sometimes they do end up going below, but it's all about waiting for the bounce and making sure that you get in at a good buy. Do I think that it has potential? Well, I think it's no question that it's bounced here not once, not twice. But if we go down to a 180-day analysis, it's bounced there multiple times. So if you can see the support that it's had, the bounces that it's had here at the support line, it's pretty common, right? But it all comes down to waiting for the bounce and waiting for that trend up. Yesterday I made the decision, and this is my decision only, and it in no way does it mean that that's something that you have to do. 5 days ago, it bounced when it was above 60. So I made the decision yesterday because it didn't even hit 60 to buy in. And a couple traders did before me and then followed after. But the biggest reason is because of the potential that it has to move back up to 65, 66, and even 70. So that's why I saw potential in JDST. If you don't see potential, then don't trade it. It's as simple as that. So let's see. I'm gonna start going down the list and oh, this guy's upset. Let's see. How do we do this? There we go. Oh man. Not too sure what's going on, but all right. Let's go ahead and start with the suggestions that these guys are giving. So let's go ahead and go with MRNS. And again, I'm just gonna go down the list and do it pretty quickly. MRNS. We've actually found a couple good ones throughout the past couple of weeks. When it comes down to just going based off our trader suggestions, again, it's just comes down to exposure and what you see value in. RNS. Okay. I mean, it's been doing honestly really good since it's. My goodness. Okay. I'm gonna take a little bit of a step back and look at it a little bit further. No, it's okay. So it has had something like this before. It's showing that it's more on the overbought side, so I'm using the RSI indicator for that specific tool. But I mean, it's continuously been increasing. So this one's definitely showing a lot of strong signs of upward momentum. Does it mean that it's always going to continue? Well, not exactly, right? So it's always going to have a point where it, like, peaks out and ends up seeing a pullback. So one of the biggest things is, let's try to focus on this area right here. I was going to say this looks like a swing trade, but not really. This looks more like a day trade, because even within one day, it has pretty decent margin from, like, good entry point and where it peaks out. It's like 10% plus margin at least on average. Even when it has the pullbacks, has about 5%. The day before has over 20%. So it's been consistently increasing. So if we can get above this $3 support, then we can kind of identify that as a support line. It's up to you on the approach that you want to take. You can have a max stop loss. You can, cut your losses right below the support. You can, have a 1%, 2% max stop loss, whatever it is that you identify that you want to risk, then that's up to you. But understanding that it looks like there's going to be the resistance at 326, but that the support line, even during pre-market hours, it is trying to hold and break above $3. So I think if we can get above $3, then that would be a good indicator that it's going to continue moving up throughout the day. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do it when it goes above 305, not just 3, but 305, letting me know that it's moving up. So I think this one does have potential as long as it continues its upward trend. There's no question about that. If it continues its upward trend, even from 305 to 325, that's about 6% potential. And let's say I do get in at 305 and I stop loss out at 299. That's a 1.8 potential for loss. So that is a little bit higher than what I like taking usually, but it looks like during pre-market hours, the highest that it went was 304. So it is experiencing somewhat of a resistance at 305. So if we can get above that, then that can be a good sign. So let's go ahead and move back down. Alrighty. All right, so you guys are asking me about JDST and the potential for 65 to 66. Most likely, the only thing that when it comes down to, you guys are asking me if it's a swing trade. The funny thing is that it did this movement from top to bottom, right, from 66.50 to 60, all in one day. Therefore, if it moves back up all in one day, and I can make the the up to the 66 to or 65 to 66. Then I'd be more than happy to get rid of it. That's more than what it is that I need, or I can follow with a trailing stop loss. And at the end of the day, if I'm up that much, I most likely will lock in profits, just because I feel like it would be worth it, right? Based on the previous trend, it peaked out at that specific price point, so I'd much rather lock in profits at that point. Now, when it comes down to, let's say I get in at it ends up closing at 62 or 63 and I'm still up, I might consider continuing to hold it. I was treating this one more as a swing trade anyways. Therefore, I was looking at, more of like a 5-day analysis and trying to get a better understanding that, it might take a couple days for it to get back up here, but I definitely see the potential. So again, if you want to treat it as a swing trade, then go for it. If you want to treat it as a day trade, then go for it as well. I broke a rule and I'm currently back holding AMD. Dude, we've all been there. One of the biggest things is, I know it's very difficult, right, for anyone that's just starting to day trade. One of the biggest things is having a max loss or identifying where you're going to cut your losses, and when it hits that point to have a stop loss set. A lot of people sorry about that. I didn't mean to click the mouse so hard. AKS. A lot of people have the understanding that, if it works for you, a mental stop loss, then that's up to you. If that's something that you see value in, I think because a lot of new traders don't have the discipline it takes, with all due respect, right? Don't have the discipline that it takes to really stick to that mental stop loss. I think it's better just to leave it down to once you get in, identify a max stop loss and then just, set it. And once you set that, then, let that treat itself, and that whole mental stop loss, it's up to you if you want to use that approach. It works for some people and it doesn't for others. I think it works for those that are extremely disciplined, and it doesn't for those that aren't. AKS. So I like this one because, let me see if I can go a little bit further back. Okay. So it looks like it had a previous support. So when it came back down from that $7 resistance, we've talked about AKS before, 100%. It had a previous support. What is this? At around 550. If you could see initially when it came back down, especially the EMA lines, they were trying to hold above the 550 support line. And because, again, that was an old support, once it broke below it, it became a new resistance. Every time that it tried to break above now 560, it would experience pullbacks. It had an overall support at $5, and then now is approaching, again, that same resistance. Does it mean 100% that it's going to continue its upward trend? Well, no, just like we know, old supports become new resistance levels. Therefore, it might not end up breaking it and then might see a downward trend, right? So make sure you have a plan when it comes to trading this one. This one definitely does offer potential, or that's at least what I see, from around like the 550 to 575 to even $6, which was an old support, which is new resistance, and highs of even like almost $7 resistance, right? Just a couple days ago. But it comes down to how the charts play out. You know, if you want to treat this as a swing trade, it's up to you. What I see potential in is that I'm not even sure. I guess maybe we should go with the 560 resistance. The reason I say that is because it's peaked out around 560 multiple times, and it struggled to hold above that. So the reason that I called out 550 was due to the EMA lines, and it looks like the EMA line and displayed EMA were both holding above 550. So, but overall support at $5, and you definitely don't want to bag hold this one. If you buy in at 550, 560, and then you hold it and it comes back down all the way to the support, you're going to be down 10%, and that's definitely not the approach you want to take. The approach that I take, it comes down to cutting losses quickly. You definitely don't need to take that approach at all, but understanding that you should have a max stop loss. And if you want to see overall account growth, a lot of you guys had amazing days yesterday, and you probably don't want to bag hold anything, especially not a stock that can drop 10% within a series of days, right? So it's up right now, and let's continue this trend up as long as the charts continue to show the same thing. It's showing it to like flatline right here at 540. So what I'm going to do is I want to make sure that this one's in my watch list. All right. And just to get a better understanding, it looks like 530. I'm going to set an alert. Oh, below. And if you guys are going to be asking, we get a very common question on how do I use Thinkorswim or certain indicators in my setup altogether? Search up Thinkorswim platform and then my name on the YouTube search bar. There we go. Just so I can stay up to date and let you guys know on how this one goes. But good call out. Of course. BIOC. I actually saw this one during how it's performing during pre-market hours. So it doesn't look to be doing very well. This one's definitely more of a day trade. It's on a downward trend, right? So it had a previous resistance, if you guys can see here, at $3, which most likely tries to become a new support. It looks like it's kind of moving down pretty strong. Not too sure if it's actually going to bounce at that specific support. Actually, it was not B. Were you guys in BIOS or BIOC? Yeah, BIOC is the one that's up right now. Yeah. Okay, again, it's been on a consistent downward trend, but it does have nice little spikes up. So it might have a nice little pump. Has had an overall support, has been holding above $1 ever since that huge pump that it's had. But if you can see, it's been slowly on a downward trend within the past couple of days. Let's do a 2-day analysis. And during pre-market hours, it's at 130. I honestly think that it's, and this is just my opinion, I think that it's played out what it most likely will do all of today. If you see the previous trend that it usually has during pre-market hours, it pumps up, and then it has a downward trend throughout the entire day. Pumps up and has an entire downward trend throughout the day. It's up to you guys on what you guys see value in. It's just if you guys see that trend, it's up to you, right? If you see the potential and you want to buy it at 120 and try to sell it at 130, I mean, there's potential, but realistically, based on the previous trend, it's most likely still heading down. And I'd like to focus more on the charts doing the talking rather than that. So I'll do DCTH just because so many people request it. But again, this one is a stock that I did have a couple of people message me about this one. This is a stock that gets easily manipulated. It's not one that I recommend for new traders, especially because it's very difficult to manage your risk on such low cap stocks. And just like one of our buddies said, within Seth Hendrickson, he says that I don't cover stocks under $1, and that's something I'm very clear about. That's just my style, though. It doesn't mean that that has to be your approach. We have Brad and his group. We have him right here, so feel free to subscribe to him. His whole group deals with catching stocks that are less than 1 cent, and they do extremely well within that market. That's the OTC stock market. And then we have Connor that deals with momentum trading, and they trade stocks even less than $1 as well. So again, it just comes down to identifying and seeing what works for you, and then going based on that. So it definitely looks like it's been on a continuous upward trend. And didn't this thing pump up like less than 20 days ago? Oh no, must have been a little bit while. Yeah. So it's had these pumps before. So it definitely has potential to move up. It's just, I don't know, guys. It's just not one that I'm very turned on about because it's very manipulative, and it gets hyped up a lot, and then it just slowly, decreases. And it has had random spikes up. Again, they don't hold, so make sure you have a day trade available. We have a couple people that made the mistake of not knowing that they didn't have day trades available, and then they were under the PDT rule, and then just it was not the way that it should have been traded, right? You should always know kind of where you stand with the PDT rule. So JDST, if we do a 10-day analysis, it looks like it's approaching the same resistance that it previously had a couple days ago. And again, JNUG is the inverse ETF of JDST. Therefore, when JNUG goes down, JDST goes up, and then when JNUG goes up, JDST goes down. That's why there's so much potential on JDST right now, because again, they're inverse. So I don't know why. Let's see. It removes one and then adds the other. So right now, people were asking me, what's my opinion on this one? So let's do a 180-day analysis. The reason that I say that is because of its previous trend that it's had. It usually has a resistance at $20. That's usually where it peaks out at. For the past couple of times, it peaked out at 19 or 18.50. Understanding that, most likely right now where the price is, you might want to follow with a tighter trailing stop loss due to that, but it's up to you on what you decide to focus on. Does that make sense? So if it usually had a resistance at $20, but the previous trends have been, or the previous resistance have been anywhere from around $19 to $18.50, it's approaching $18.50 already. It's at $18.25 to $18.27 if you guys can see here. Therefore, it might be a smart or a more, it might be a more conservative approach to actually lock in profits now. And then to worry about, if it continues to rise, then, follow with the trailing stop loss. But if you think that it's kind of hit its peak, don't be greedy, lock in profits. I know a lot of people within our group are trading JNUG and see value in it. And guys, if you guys see value in it, then go for it. But just set up a plan and have an understanding kind of what your approach is going to be when it comes down to making sure that I know there are a good amount of people that messaged me that, I thought JDST still had potential, to rise. That's why I didn't put a stop loss. I had a limit order at 70. So for those that didn't see, JDST had the potential, right? It had the potential. Doesn't mean that it was going to. It just had the potential based on previous trends to hit highs of 70. And this time it only hit highs of 66. People didn't lock in profits, even if they're writing it from 60. The majority of our traders did. Some didn't. And the reason why is because, they thought that it still had margin for profit. Understand that it's still extremely important to lock in the profits that you have. And that's something that we've talked about. I made a video just because of it. And because it was a member requested video about maybe 3 days ago. So it's how to, or what is a trailing stop loss. It tells you the importance of it, even following with the regular stop loss and making sure that if you have a $3 profit margin per share, then, at least regardless of where, JDST moves, you at least will lock in those profits. And I think that's one of the most important things that you guys have to understand. Yes, it's nice to try to squeeze in the most profit that you guys want and can, but understanding in the long run, it's consistency and staying in the green that matters. And it's probably one of the worst feelings that you were in the green, and then it took a dip down. You didn't lock in profits because you got greedy, and then you're in the red. Does that make sense? So I hope that's something that makes sense to you guys. Okay, so City Limit Park says I set a stop loss on JNUG at 17.99. Again, whatever works for you. And what is that? Joboki. Jaboki, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to pronounce your name. Very good. My stop loss is set. I'm going to be buying a little bit more shares. And again, this is just my opinion. In no way does this. Please, like, don't trade based. This is why I don't call out all my my trades during within the watch list or within the group chat, because too many people were mimicking my trades, and that's not the type of group chat that we're trying to promote. But my approach is it has a $60 support. Therefore, I'm going to manage my risk from the $60 support at 1%. Therefore, if it exceeds 1% loss, then that's where I'm going to cut my losses. I'm going to buy in with a couple more shares once it bounces. And if it doesn't bounce, then I'll just cut my losses with the small amount of shares that I have right now. So I didn't go in too heavy yesterday. So if it continues to rise and it bounces and it starts to show signs of upward momentum, then I'll make the decision to invest. So AMD right now is experiencing a pullback. AMD is very famous for that pullback during market open. So it's at 1237. And this one is actually one that I'm still in right now. It peaked out previously at 1320 and usually has a support at 1250. So it does usually go somewhere around that area. Last time it went to lows of 1161. So it's just whatever it is that you see value in. I think overall for a AMD, if you guys know what that is, when it comes down to a swing trade, I definitely still see value in it. It was on a consistent upward trend. It broke that trend, had that pullback, hit that resistance, and I think it's going to be starting most likely a new trend, with the pullbacks and then hitting the resistance and then showing like a new sign of upward momentum. That's just my approach. Does not mean that that's something that you guys have to see. Let's talk about IDXG, guys. A lot of people did extremely well, and I think the hype is definitely dying out on this one, and that's what's why you're seeing this little hill. It's showing now signs of downward momentum, and in this one, yesterday it did not show signs of downward momentum. That's why I was a little bit more confident talking about it, because if we saw during pre-market hours, or if you guys joined for yesterday's live stream, I called out the support at 115, and people were asking me, where would you stop loss out if you were in, on IDXG? Well, you want to give it that cushion because this one was more of a momentum stock. So since it was trending up so much, that it definitely you wanted to give it that margin for it to continue to move around. I was saying, it did not break below 115 during pre-market hours. Therefore, if it wants to continue to rise, it has to continue to, break its resistance and not break the supports. Therefore, 115 was the critical point, and it never broke below that. It continued to rise, It hit 150. That's ideally where I would have sold, and then it saw the pullback. And now it's breaking all these supports. Now it's truly showing signs of downward momentum. Doesn't mean that all of a sudden it can't have a nice little pump. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that it's heading back down. The hype is dying out. The demand isn't going to most likely be there. But it's just whatever it is that you see value in. So RAD again has a support at 220. We call that out multiple times. I don't think it's ever gone below 220. This is Rite Aid for those that know what that is. Overall support, it's bounced there once, twice, and then going for the third time. Does it mean 100% that it's going to bounce there? No. Again, wait for the bounce, wait for it to validate that support, and once it starts trending up, it's up to you as an investor to trade it if you see value in it. M, which is Macy's, just broke the support at $20. So, definitely still heading back down. A better indicator for this one, that it's trending back up is what I'm going to do is, just so I can stay up to date, is set an alert. So if it starts trending back up, then that would be something good to keep an eye on. But until then, definitely not going to force the trade. DNR has this potential. Again, this is up to you. Previous bounce, previous support at 130 has gone below 130. As you guys could see, it's gone to lows of 127 as it's gone before. If it starts to trend back up, so it's at 128, 129, so it might look like it's bouncing. It's up to you if you see value in it. So if you see the bounce and you see it starting to trend back up, just know that it has a resistance at 150 and a support at 130. So it definitely has a really decent profit margin. It's up to you as the investor to identify it, set up a plan to manage it, and then go for it. SQ, again, back at 25, so it's trending back up from its bounce that it had at 24. It kind of flatlined yesterday at 25. It looks now like it's trending back up, has had a pretty decent pullback after its earnings reports. But it's up to you, again, to see if this is one that you see value. And I think this one definitely does have a lot more margin to make up than what it does have to lose. And that's all about managing your risk. So no, I don't like that. That's less than $1. Guys, we called this one out perfectly. Afterwards, ENDP, actually, ENDP. This is actually one that a member called out. There we go. So a perfect bounce. I'm so sorry. I think this was Steven that called this one out. He messaged me yesterday. He direct messaged me. He asked me if I saw value in this one. I was like, well, yeah, it's building that perfect trend. It's building that perfect trend when, you know, it sees a downward trend, identifies its support, you know, around 750 or 740, and then it starts to pick back up. A previous support that it had was $9, which will become a new resistance. But if it breaks above $9, then it has a lot of margin to make up as long as it continues trending up. So it's all about identifying the lowest point and then for it to trend back up. So I'm going to end it there, guys. I don't want to overwhelm you guys with options. I think, and I'm going to put the top stocks that I see value in in the description. So once this video publishes, if you guys didn't catch everything, I'm going to put I'm sorry, I just got a direct message. I'm going to put all the stocks that we talked about and their support and resistance within the description, because we have a lot of people that are swing traders and that don't have always time to watch my videos, and I 100% understand that. So you guys can get the gist of it. I'm going to just put them in the description. But again, please make sure you do your own DD. Please make sure you identify your own potential and manage your risk. So we talked about AMD having potential as a swing trader. We talked about IDXG most likely heading back down. M is still heading back down. RAD actually just bounced. What the heck? It was just at 22. Not too sure if you guys literally RAD, which is righted. We called out the support at 20. The lowest it's ever had or been has been 22, and now it's back at 28. So it has a resistance at 23. So since we've talked about it, it's up like 2%. So it's nothing huge, but it's still potential, right? So it still looks like now it's trending back up. So that's one that we're talking about. DNR is one that it looks like it's at 130 again, so it definitely does look like it's bouncing. So if you see value in that, DNR for it was at highs of 140 yesterday, so potentially it could hit 140 today, which is about a little bit less than 10% potential, but definitely a good amount of potential there. SQ showing more potential as a swing trade, and then JDST. If it continues to show signs of upward momentum, then that one definitely shows potential, in my opinion. It doesn't have to. In your opinion, you just simply don't have to trade it. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you guys again all for watching. If you guys can do me the biggest favor, and if you guys like these videos, we'd really appreciate the support if you guys can like the video. And if you guys aren't subscribed already, that's totally okay if you guys aren't subscribed to me. But I do want to make sure that I shout out our team within TechBot Solutions. And if you guys can simply subscribe to the three guys we have here. Kyle is the buyer and reseller of different products. So he does like e-commerce and stuff like that, and he talked about what has led to his success. He's part of the TechBuds team, and he leads the mobile investment subgroup. Brad is the OTC stock group leader, and then Connor is the momentum group leader. So feel free to reach out to them. They have everything, and they upload daily videos, if not every other day. So we'd really appreciate it if you don't subscribe to us, then at least subscribe to the team, because it would not be possible if it weren't for all of them. So thank you guys again for everything it is that you guys do. Let me know. Okay. So a lot of people really do enjoy these live streams, right? And I get that feedback, every single day. But some people don't. And some people enjoy when I talk about real estate. Some people enjoy when I talk about just the different buying and reselling of different things that I do on the side. Let me know, because people always ask me what motivated me to make a certain video, what motivated me to do something. It comes down to my, so JDST just went below 60 or 60. No, yeah, it's at 60 though. It's at 60 flat right now. So, but it comes down to me making videos based on our viewers' request. So if you guys have any video suggestions, something that you have a question about, that you're having trouble understanding, if it comes down to trading, real estate, or anything whatsoever, I'd be more than happy to make a video based on your needs. And that's it. So thank you guys again so much for watching. If there's anything else that I can do to be a part of your success, I'd be more than happy to do so. You simply just have to ask. All the links are down below for you to be a part of TechBot Solutions. Again, it is a free Facebook group. All you have to have is a Facebook account. And all we ask Sorry. All we ask you to do is to provide a supportive environment and to share your best practices and share your mistakes in effort to promote overall group growth. It's pretty transparent, very simple, and I think the value can definitely be there for. Wow, it's at 60-30 already for JDST. It was just at 60 and it just moved back up. So it's definitely seeing a lot of volume right now. So I'm going to end it here just so I can focus on my trade with JDST. And I'll keep the group up to date on where my position stands for JDST and AMD. Thank you guys again for everything that you guys do. Continue working hard, continue following your dreams, and let your passion be expressed through your hard work. So, like always, guys, let's make sure that we win the year on a green note. Take care.